What if one of the biggest Hollywood success stories wasn't just about talent or even luck, but about strategic brilliance that rewrote the rules of the game? What if the biggest twist in Marvel's cinematic legacy didn't come from a multiverse portal or an infinity stone, but from two A-listers who quietly outmaneuvered the studio system? Well, according to none other than Robert Downey Jr., that's exactly what happened. And the names at the center of this revelation, none other than Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. In an exclusive and now viral interview, the man who once suited up as Tony Stark dropped a comment that has the entire fandom and parts of Hollywood buzzing. With his usual blend of charm and sharp observation, Downey casually hinted that Blake and Ryan may have outplayed Marvel Studios during a critical time in superhero film history. Now the internet is exploding with theories, timelines, and receipts trying to piece together what really went on behind the scenes. Could it be that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds didn't just succeed within the system, but figured out how to outsmart it entirely? Let's back up for a moment. Ryan Reynolds, as most fans remember, didn't have the easiest start in the superhero world. His first real taste of it came with X-Men Origins Wolverine, where his version of Wade Wilson was, let's be honest, a far cry from the Deadpool fans know and love today. That film's take on Deadpool was so widely criticized that it seemed to bury any hopes of Reynolds becoming a major superhero icon. But Ryan didn't walk away. He waited, he learned, and behind the scenes he rebuilt. And guess who was right there with him during that journey? Blake Lively. Not only as his partner in life, but reportedly as a strategic voice behind some of his most career-defining decisions. While the world saw them as a glamorous, funny, and loving couple, industry insiders were beginning to see something else: two incredibly sharp minds who understood how Hollywood worked and, more importantly, how to protect their interests in an industry that often leaves actors with little power. So when Robert Downey Jr., arguably the face of the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, suggests that Blake and Ryan may have tricked Marvel, it's not a casual joke. It's a loaded comment filled with layers of insight, because what Downey knows, and what he hinted at, is that most actors who step into Marvel's world sign multi-film contracts that come with tight creative control. That's how Marvel keeps its universe so consistent. But Reynolds didn't do that. In fact, he avoided it, instead carving out a deal for Deadpool that gave him something rare. In the superhero genre, creative ownership. Deadpool didn't just succeed, it shattered expectations. It proved that R-rated superhero films could dominate the box office. It showed that breaking the fourth wall, skewering tropes, and giving actors more say could work not only artistically but commercially. And most importantly, it showed that Ryan Reynolds didn't need to be tied to Marvel's universe to become a legend within it. But here's where things take a truly wild turn. Around the same time Ryan was crafting the foundation of what would become Deadpool, Marvel was expanding rapidly. New heroes were being introduced, big roles were being cast, and some familiar names, according to reports, were on their radar. And yes, one of those names was Blake Lively. Multiple rumors swirled that she was approached for roles that could have made her an MCU staple, from Carol Danvers to members of the X-Men universe, yet Blake never joined. Why? That's the mystery Robert Downey Jr. may have just cracked open. Downey's remarks seem to imply that the couple made a conscious decision not to be fully absorbed by the Marvel machine at a time when nearly every actor in Hollywood was trying to join it. And instead of grabbing the first big offer that came their way, Blake and Ryan took a longer view. They bet on flexibility, they bet on creative control, they bet on each other. And now, as Marvel adapts to changing audience tastes and box office pressures, it seems that bet is finally paying off in massive ways. Think about it, Deadpool 3 is not just another sequel. It's one of the most anticipated films in Marvel's future slate. And it's happening under terms that Reynolds helped shape. He brought Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine. He's bringing Deadpool's tone into the mainstream MCU. And all of this while maintaining a brand that he created on his terms. That kind of leverage doesn't happen by accident. And it certainly doesn't happen if you follow the rules blindly. So when Robert Downey Jr. said they knew how to work the system, it wasn't a jab. It was a salute. It was Iron Man tipping his hat to two of the only players who managed to beat Marvel at their own game and still ended up on the winning team. The industry is now watching closely. Could this be the future of stardom in superhero franchises? Will other actors start negotiating for more freedom, more input, and more space to create? One thing's for sure, Blake and Ryan's blueprint is now out in the open, and it's hard to ignore just how well it worked. This isn't just a story about contracts or casting, it's about control, it's about timing, and above all, it's about understanding your worth in a world that rarely lets you define it yourself. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds may not have been handed the keys to the Marvel kingdom, but they figured out how to build their own castle. And now Marvel's inviting them in. So buckle up because this story is far from over. In a shocking and unexpected moment during a recent interview, none other than Robert Downey Jr. opened up about something Marvel fans never expected to. Hear an intricate behind-the-scenes revelation involving Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Known for his wit, candor, and charm, Robert didn't mince words when he hinted that the dynamic Hollywood power couple may have used some strategic moves during key phases of Marvel casting and contract discussions. What started off as a light-hearted exchange quickly turned serious when the interviewer brought up Marvel's competitive casting environment. That's when Robert subtly dropped a comment that's now gone viral, suggesting that Lively and Reynolds played it smart, maybe even too smart, when it came to navigating the Marvel universe. What exactly did he mean, and how did two of Hollywood's most charming stars find themselves at the center of what Downey Jr. playfully referred to as a Marvel maneuver? Let's dig into the timeline, the castings, and the choices that changed everything, especially for Ryan Reynolds, who had quite the rocky path with superhero roles. From Green Lantern to Deadpool, and even subtle negotiations behind the scenes. This rabbit hole runs deeper than anyone expected. Before jumping to conclusions, let's rewind a bit. Ryan Reynolds initially made his mark as Wade Wilson in X-Men Origins Wolverine, a role that was critically panned for how it mishandled the Deadpool character. But instead of giving up, Reynolds fought for years to redeem Deadpool. And thanks to leaked test footage, he finally got his chance. Here's where it gets interesting. Around this time, Reynolds was in close talks with studios and talent agents who also had direct connections to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Robert Downey Jr. later revealed that during early casting conversations, Blake Lively, Reynolds' wife and a savvy figure in Hollywood, played a key role in advising him on how to avoid certain contractual pitfalls. According to Robert, they didn't trick anyone maliciously, but let's just say they knew how to work the system in their favor. It was Blake who allegedly encouraged Ryan to hold out for more creative control and ownership over Deadpool, something most actors never even dream of asking for. Was it coincidence, or was it a deliberate plan by the couple to make sure Ryan didn't get locked into Marvel's famously strict character timelines and instead had the freedom to build his own superhero empire under the Deadpool brand? Downey Jr. insists it was both smart and gutsy. They played chess while the rest were playing checkers, he said with a grin. It's now widely speculated that Reynolds was at one point considered for roles within the main MCU, not just as Deadpool but potentially as other key characters, like Star-Lord or even a rebooted Human Torch. However, he never quite landed those parts. Why? According to insiders and reinforced by Downey Jr.'s comments, Ryan and Blake may have been deliberately cautious about signing long-term Marvel contracts. The MCU is known for requiring actors to commit to multiple films, often without much flexibility for other creative projects. Robert noted that Reynolds turned down one or two key offers early on, choosing instead to bide his time. Meanwhile, Blake Lively, though never officially part of the MCU, was reportedly approached for various roles, including rumors about her being in talks for a future X-Men reboot or even the Fantastic Four franchise. By stepping aside at crucial moments, the couple gave themselves room to take creative control elsewhere, Ryan with Deadpool and Blake with roles in less restrictive franchises. As Downey put it, they knew how to dodge the system without burning any bridges. This cautious yet calculated distancing may have looked risky from the outside, but it paid off tremendously. When Deadpool finally dropped, it wasn't just a success, it was a cultural phenomenon. And Reynolds didn't just star in it, he shaped it. Fast forward to today, and the tables have completely turned. Ryan Reynolds is now firmly back in the Marvel fold thanks to Disney's acquisition of Fox. Deadpool 3 is not only happening, it's officially part of the MCU. And Hugh Jackman is back as Wolverine. So was this the plan all along? If you believe Robert Downey Jr.'s statements, the answer might be yes. They kept their options open, he said. That's rare in this business. Everyone wants a quick win, but those two, they wanted the long game. Robert also expressed admiration for how Reynolds and Lively handled their public image. Instead of chasing roles or headlines, they let the work speak for itself. And now they're in a position of unprecedented power in Hollywood. And let's not forget the rumored calls between Kevin Feige and the Reynolds-Lively team over the past year. Allegedly, Marvel had to make several creative concessions to ensure Ryan would agree to do Deadpool 3 under the MCU banner. According to Downey, that kind of leverage is rare, they earned it. While Marvel might not have been tricked in a harmful way, it's clear that Ryan and Blake managed to outmaneuver traditional casting practices. And in doing so, they changed the game. Marvel Studios has always been known for its tight creative control and carefully mapped out universe. But the arrival of Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool with full R-rated humor, meta commentary, And wild fourth wall breaks has changed the studio's traditional tone, and fans are loving it. Now with Deadpool 3 shaping up to be one of Marvel's most anticipated projects, questions are surfacing about whether more stars will begin negotiating the way Reynolds did. Could we see more actors demanding creative freedom? Could Marvel's tight grips start to loosen? As a result, Robert Downey Jr. seems to think so. The system's evolving, he said. People like Ryan and Blake showed that there's another way. It's not just about getting cast, it's about shaping the role, shaping the story. Interestingly, Downey also hinted at wanting to work with Reynolds in the future, saying if the story's right, I'd love to jump into something offbeat with him. Maybe even in the multiverse. So what's the takeaway here? It's not that Blake and Ryan tricked Marvel in a negative sense, it's that they understood the business better than most and made choices that allowed them to thrive outside the usual system. And in doing so, they've made it into the MCU on their own terms with more freedom than almost any other star. It's a masterclass in patience, planning, and partnership. As the dust settles on Robert Downey Jr.'s eye-opening remarks, one thing is clear: the Hollywood power couple Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds didn't just follow the traditional path to success, they redesigned it. What began as whispered rumors about Ryan rejecting early Marvel offers, or Blake stepping away from possible MCU roles, now seems to have a deeper layer of strategy behind it. With Robert's insider insights confirming much of what fans speculated, the picture becomes clearer. This was never just about fame or screen time. It was about control, longevity, and creative freedom. Robert's comments weren't laced with bitterness or jealousy. Instead, there was a tone of genuine respect, coming from the man who helped launch and lead the MCU as Iron Man. That kind of recognition carries weight. When Downey Jr. says they played chess while others played checkers, he's not just complimenting their business sense, he's acknowledging their foresight in a system that's often rigid and unforgiving. Ryan Reynolds' decision to take on Deadpool, a character many believed was ruined in X-Men Origins, was a gamble. Yet with the right team timing and Blake Lively's behind-the-scenes support, it turned into one of the most profitable and iconic superhero franchises in recent memory. And Blake, though she hasn't joined the MCU yet, has proven herself equally savvy by choosing diverse, empowering roles in and out of blockbuster spaces. Her fingerprints may not be visible in superhero cinema, but her influence is undeniable. So did Blake and Ryan trick Marvel? Not in the malicious sense, but they did outmaneuver the rigid expectations of Hollywood's biggest machine. They chose when and how to engage, they protected their brand, and they waited until the time was right on their terms. That level of autonomy is incredibly rare, especially in the Marvel ecosystem, where most actors have little say once contracts are signed. The lesson here isn't just for fans or fellow actors, it's for the industry as a whole. As studios evolve and fans demand fresher narratives and more honest portrayals, the Reynolds Lively approach may become a blueprint. It proves that authenticity, patience, and smart planning can still win in an industry obsessed with instant results. In the end, Robert Downey Jr. didn't expose a scandal, he revealed a strategy, one rooted in trust, partnership, and deep understanding of both art and commerce. Blake and Ryan didn't just survive Hollywood's harsh system, they reshaped it to fit their vision. And now with Deadpool 3 bringing that vision full circle into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it seems the couple's long game is finally paying off with interest. The Marvel Universe may never be the same again.